any sense, they'll put him on that steelbook somewhere. They'll put him.
Oh, he'll be on it.
Halloween Resurrection.
Dude, look at that font right there for the title credits. That is literally, back in that time, I saw that font everywhere. Every wrestling video game had that font. Everything, like, that font is synonymous with that time frame. People be like, "What the fuck does it mean?" I'm like, he defines it in the beginning of the goddamn movie. The definition is on the fucking screen.
Yeah,
it's on the fucking screen.
It doesn't make sense.
What does it mean?
Can you fucking read?
He defines it. He fucking defines it.
If you don't like Halloween 5, you're fucking wrong, basically. So,
hell yes for the absolutely generic font for the Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that's the same font they use for the Friday.
Dude, it is well, and the Blu-ray fonts from the original and this one are like almost identical.
To get genuinely aggravated by a film, I feel alive. I felt alive after seeing this thing because I was so fucking mad and so aggravated.
Thank God the dislike button doesn't exist.
I know.
When I watch men, when I watch men, when I watch men, when I watch men,
when I watch men, when I watch men.
Yeah. Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, right? What's up?
Yes.
What's up, everybody? We're live, coming to you live from an undisclosed location because we are high profile. Christian.
Yes, sir.
Up, dude?
It's a nice Thursday. It's going good.
Yeah.
Weather's I got a good couple weeks of weather over here, but it doesn't last long. I've always got a good 2 or 3 weeks, then it just gets to the extreme. So it's a nice little 60 degrees, nice sun today. Just blessed on Thursday, and I can't complain. How are you?
You know, I'm all right. I just got to say this right from the top. If you guys noticed in a lot of my recent videos, I haven't been wearing a hat. That's because of Christian. He said I sent him one of my uploads, and he was like, "I'm just going to tell you something right off the top. Stop wearing damn hats." And I said, "All right." And I've heard you bastards. I've heard you greasy bastards in the chat making fun of my hair. I got nice hair, damn it. I'm not ashamed. But yeah, I'm going to make a poll. If you guys want me to start wearing the hat again, I'm going to wear the hat. Because I think I decided today at work, I was like, I don't think I'm going to cut my hair. I really don't think I'm going to.
It's your hair, brother. Do what you want to do with it. I think I have good hair, and for the record, guys, he asked me for critique on his video. I didn't just out of the blue say, "Hey, take off your stupid hat." Just so I don't sound like a total asshole. He did ask my opinion.
Yes, yeah, so. Yeah, but yeah.
I don't go out of my way to tell him to take his hat off.
That is true. We got some stuff to talk about tonight, guys. I want to update you on the next show because some things have changed, and based off of some feedback we got from you guys and conversations that Christian and I had, and then just catching up on what's going on right now in the industry and around the these here United States. I don't know why I said that because it's just movies and shit. But hello to everybody that's in here. Glad to see y'all, especially you, Jaden. You're never in here live. How's everybody doing? I guess right off the top, man. Christian, are you going to be going out to see Ghostbusters this weekend?
I'm going to try. I have a lot of house stuff we're working on. I got to redo my deck, got to paint the deck, got to pull out some panels. So it's going to be a busy weekend. But I think I will be able to see Ghostbusters this weekend. That's the plan anyway. Probably Sunday, not Saturday, but probably Sunday, see Ghostbusters. So
You're just playing up the old man thing now. Just Sunday.
it's just what it is, man. I got band practice in the midst of putting out a record, so we're rehearsing, we're recording, and my Saturday shot, so I can't go see it then. And then in the morning, like I said, I legitimately am working on the deck. So I have a big deck. My backyard does this. It slopes down, so I have a deck that obviously stays flat, and then I've got longer boards in the front holding it up, and some of those boards just constantly get rain on them, and some of them wearing out, so I got to get them changed. Not going to be cheap because wood's expensive, which is kind of good because I work in the wood industry, but it's good when you buy it, right? So that's my weekend, just house stuff, but I'm going to see it Sunday if time permits.
Christian is Christian is he masters in the art of wood. So we'll see how that goes, guys. And I'm sure he'll post updates to Instagram. Also want to apologize. I didn't really promo enough like leading up to this. I know a lot of people today, like 2 hours ago when I posted on my story, they're like, wait, you guys are going live tonight? Like, what the hell? Yeah, it's my bad. Been pretty busy week for me too. So I just kind of dropped the ball on that one. The thing that everybody's talking about today, and I guess we'll just address this right off the top as well. By the way, I wanted to say, outside of my theater tonight, Christian, there was a dude that I don't know if I would assume the theater permitted it. He like pulled up onto the sidewalk in front of the theater, and he had a Dodge Charger that was all Ghostbusters tricked out with like the spider doors
really?
and everything. Oh yeah, people were taking pictures.
You got a picture of it?
I didn't take a picture of it because when I was walking, I only saw it when I was walking out. It wasn't there when I came in to the movie I saw tonight. But when I walked out, there was a bunch of people around it taking pictures, sitting in it. And I was just like, I don't want to be that guy that's just like, oh, I don't know. I should have taken a picture. If it's still there tomorrow, I will. But it was cool. It was green, and it had the logo on the side and a bunch of art like throughout from the movies, like all over it. Like it was cool. So
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of how big the Ghostbusters, not necessarily just fan base, but there are literal clubs every state. And they're it's like the Hells Angels, and there are clubs for Ghostbusters in each state. There's the New Orleans Ghostbusters, there's the Atlanta Ghostbusters, there's the Syracuse Ghostbusters, and it's fans that make clubs. They get together, they watch the movies, they do mini like convention things. It's a huge thing, and Dan Aykroyd's a big proponent of it. There's a documentary called Ghost Heads about it, and it's really cool. Some of the collectors out there for Ghostbusters, they have incredible stuff. And I wouldn't call myself a ghost head. I'm not in any kind of group like that, but I am a very, very, very big fan. So this is prime season for me. I'm very excited for a new Ghostbusters movie. Very excited.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Afterlife, so I won't be. Obviously, I'm not going to be checking this one out in theaters. But I heard a lot of good things about Afterlife, and I've heard a lot of mixed things about this one. So, I hope it does well. I hope everybody that's a big Ghostbusters fan enjoys it. Absolutely. I wanted to also address the trailer that came out today for Beetlejuice, the second one, and interested to get your thoughts on this because I agree with a lot of people. The trailer did absolutely nothing for me, like nothing. I don't know if it's because I feel like they waited way too long to make a sequel. I don't know what it is, but I watched it and I was just like, okay, like, you know what I mean? It didn't, nothing about it grabbed me at all. I'm sure you've had 60 seconds to watch it. What'd you think?
I wasn't upset with it. I thought it looked okay. It's hard though. Trailers are difficult to get a grasp on what the movie's actually going to be like. I'm excited for the movie because it's great to see Michael Keaton back doing one of his iconic roles. As far as the trailer itself, I didn't walk away being upset by it. I like Jenna. I think she's a good actress, so I enjoy seeing whatever she's doing, and she is kind of the last day Winona Ryder in a sense. She's kind of got like that dark gothic thing she does, and I enjoyed Wednesday, so I'm excited to see the beat, but I can't say I was, oh my god, the trailer was great. That's not my personality anyway to really be like that anyway. So I'm just excited for the movie.
I can't really. But as far as the trailer goes, it is what it is. You know, it just is what it is. I'm excited to see Michael Keaton playing the character again.
Yeah, and I will be one of those people when it comes to Alien Romulus because that trailer looked fucking awesome. And I'll just say, I love that they didn't show much in that trailer, but the thing that grabbed me the most was that that trailer looked like this movie's going to lean more into the horror, which we haven't. I mean, yes, I know people are going to play semantics here and be like, oh, well, we've seen elements of that in Alien 3. And yeah, sure. But I don't feel like an Alien movie has truly been like a sci fi horror movie since the first one. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be on the level of that, but the trailer, I just, you're getting that shot zooming out from the hallway, and then you go over to, it looks like these like bay doors almost, and there's just blood everywhere. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick. Fede Alvarez, man. He is it's a shame
The
we haven't
man.
seen him do more horror, honestly. Directorial at least. He's produced a lot. His name's been attached to a lot, but actually directing stuff, we just haven't seen enough from him because I just feel
Right.
like the guy doesn't make bad movies. So I'm really excited.
I am a little nervous that I'm going to go in with the opposite reaction that I had with Evil Dead, and I'm going to get the opposite result. So for the people that don't know what I mean, I went to Evil Dead with my arms crossed, like I'm not going to like this movie whatsoever. And then I ended up really liking it. I hope I'm going to this new Alien film being like, I'm really going to like this movie. And then I watch it and I'm like, I did not like it. But I trust Mayday. I can't imagine it's going to be horrible. Hopefully it's really good. I'm not the best at breaking down trailers, but I mean, all I can say is it looked like an Alien film, which is probably the best compliment I could get. So it looks like a classic Alien film in terms of style. So I do have high hopes and, quite frankly, high expectations because I kind of expect a certain level of quality from Fede, and I don't think that's a bad thing to have high expectations from a director. So yeah, I think this could be a really good one, and I am excited about Alien Romulus. Don't like the name. What the fuck, Romulus? Don't know. Don't care really.
I'm
But
gonna I'm gonna assume it has something to do with the space station. Just
yeah,
like Alien Covenant, the Covenant. I'm
that
gonna
makes
assume that.
sense.
Yeah.
For what it's worth too, like I don't want to be the old man and it's like, oh, it's all about Aliens 1, 2, and 3. Because quite frankly, I do like Resurrection a lot as far in terms of just a fun movie, sure. I hate Covenant, really hate it. Like,
Prometheus
don't even
fucking
talk to me
rules.
about it.
I love Prometheus. I love Prometheus.
Yeah, Prometheus is a gorgeous movie. Covenant, I really don't like it at all. But it's definitely a love-hate movie. Seems like people either they click with it or it doesn't. It just did not click with me. But Prometheus, it took me a couple watches, but I watched a documentary about Prometheus, and it was kind of Ridley Scott saying, I'm gonna flip your expectations on what you think a new Alien film should be. So I respect that. I like Ridley a lot. So I still have movies I need to watch from him, like Black Rain. But I don't. I'm excited about Alien. I'm still the most excited this year. Not that this is probably on the docket, but I should mention I'm still very, very excited for Nosferatu coming out.
Yeah.
Big Dracula mark. So anytime I get a Dracula film, I'm very, very excited, and that I'm looking forward to. But I think I have a ways away. That's probably coming out in October. But God knows I love a good Dracula film. So still, that's the highest excitement I have for the year is Nosferatu.
Well, and speaking of vampires, we don't have the release date yet, but we finally found out that Salem's Lot's coming to Max this year. I'm kind of like, on the one hand, I'm happy that we're going to get to see it because the test screening scores were really good, and Stephen King talked about how it's really good, and I think it's going to be good. I just have no doubt that I think it'll be a really worthy modern adaptation.
Right.
I just don't understand Warner Brothers, man. New Line specifically. I just don't get it. They were going to put Evil Dead Rise straight to streaming, and the pressure campaign by people involved with the movie was enough to get them to go, okay, we'll put it in theaters, and then that made 130, 140, whatever $1 million. I just don't see why. I don't see why. It seems like they only want to focus on the Conjuring universe when it comes to horror, and I just don't get it.
In their defense, it's like those movies do make money, sure, but I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, it's almost like I almost feel like this is their response to the rise of cinemas again, right? Because if you look at the last 5, 6 months, movies are making a lot of money and people are having a great time. I was excuse me. I was going to make a video about this soon. I haven't filmed it yet, but I was going to do a video talking about why I'm actually going back to the theaters, because they're making it a premium experience again. It's a lot like physical media. You're getting extras, you're getting cool limited things. That's a great thing. And I almost feel like this is their response to like, okay, well, we got to curtail this a little bit and have stuff for our goddamn streaming sites. So if I had to guess, I almost think that's it, because Jake Gyllenhaal talked about how he believed in the Roadhouse remake so much that like went to the one of the heads up of Amazon or whatever, and they were like, no, this movie is so good, we need to set this to theaters. They still wouldn't do it. And I believe Jake. I mean, I'm sure it's a great. I haven't seen Roadhouse. Very, very back against the wall, even though I love Jake Gyllenhaal, because to me, Patrick Swayze is one of the greatest movie stars of all time. Iconic. Wish he was still with us, but that's telling that I think some of these actors are kind of against the grain too. I think they're sick of going straight to streaming. They want to put their movies back in the theater as well. So I think this is kind of if I had to guess, Nick, I really think this is a response to the rise of the theater a little bit. They're like, we have to have stuff to put on these damn streaming sites. Otherwise, people, I wouldn't be surprised if the numbers are dipping some of these streaming sites over the last year. Quite frankly, I would not be surprised. So I think this is a response to that.
Well, I know you're not entirely there's no way for us to know for sure, but I think you're on the right track, because it is well documented that Evil Dead Rise was supposed to be a movie that went straight to streaming because they wanted it to be like, oh, you have to get a subscription to our, our service to see this new Evil Dead movie. And I know that was the intent from the beginning. And I believe Bruce Campbell is one of the most vocal people behind the scenes that was like, no, like this has to go to theaters. And obviously test score audiences were like, yeah, this has to go to theaters. And, and clearly they were right. It's just weird. It's really weird, but there's on that same track here, there's this really interesting wave. I've seen people talking about it here in the comments, guys, and don't worry. Like I wanted to get to
we
it.
See
I
you. We see you.
I wanted to get to it organically. There's this wave, it seems like right now, of a lot of like indie movies that are about to get releases or in release right now that or just under the radar that I'm actually really excited about. And that started tonight with Late Night with the Devil. And I just want to say I'm going to do a review. It'll be on my channel tomorrow, guys. It'll be spoiler free. If you guys, I know it's not playing in a lot of areas. It's limited release. So if you haven't seen it,
I'm going to look it up and see if mine's even playing near me, just for shits and gigs.
Well, it got acquired by Shudder, so it'll be on Shudder in a couple weeks, I'm sure. So if it's not playing,
I'll probably
you'll
wait
be able to see it soon. But this was a movie that I was really looking forward to, because I remember when The Boogeyman came out, I listened to the Boo Crew podcast for Bloody Disgusting, and they had David Desmouchin on, and they asked him what he had coming up next, and he was raving about this movie he had just done called Late Night with the Devil, and how he was so excited for it to come out. And I was like, I can't wait. And then I remember seeing the poster, and I actually sent you the poster the other day, and obviously you were aware of it, but I loved that poster. Reminded me of The House of the Devil. Like, it just like that old 70s, like I don't know what that aesthetic. I'm a sucker for that. And I think David Desmouchin is a great actor. So I went and saw that tonight. And guys, I can say that movie is awesome. I thought the movie was great. I've kind of taken Christian's approach recently, because I understand what he means of like, you don't want to give out 5 stars to movies like too much, because it really like it takes away from how important a perfect rating like that is. So I didn't give it 5 on Letterboxd, but I really didn't have any complaints with this movie. I just think that if you guys have it playing near you, please go see it. But I'm gonna say 2 things about it before I get your thoughts on it. One, it is absolutely like seamlessly 70s. It looks 70s, feels 70s, sounds 70s. It's a perfect like time capsule almost. So that's incredible. And it's going to be a great Halloween watch for years to come, because the movie takes place. It's a nationally syndicated broadcast show on Halloween night. So this will be a movie that I think a lot of horror fans will be able to add to their Halloween watches.
Sounds like
every
Ghost
year.
Watch, Halloween night. Cool.
And I'll tell you too, it's very found footage-esque without being found footage, because it's television cameras, broadcast cameras, but it gives a very found footage feel. So I think you're really going to dig that about it. But,
Sounds a lot like Ghost Watch.
yeah, but
which is
I
not
will
a
say
negative.
that-
I love Ghost Watch. You know, I'm just saying.
And I will say this, guys, understand what you're getting yourself into. It is a movie about a broadcast television show. So it is all build up until the end. The end is where everything happens. But what keeps you going throughout the movie is, I mean, Desmouchin is fucking incredible. I literally cannot stress how good he is in the movie.
He's upcoming in the horror world. I see somebody saying the
yeah.
same thing. Yeah, he's starting to get like this name for stuff.
Yeah, he's incredible.
He was in a movie called Prisoners with
and that
Jake
movie
Gyllenhaal in it.
fucking incredible. And Hugh Jackman. That movie is incredible.
Yeah, he played a great like child killer in that. Yeah, that's a great movie. That's a really good movie. I'm excited to see it. If I don't, it is playing an hour from me tomorrow at 9:00, but it's not in the cards because I get off at 7. So after working 12 hours, but if I don't see it till Shudder, that's fine. I'm going to buy the DVD and all that, or the Blu-ray when it comes out, and I'm going to see it on Shudder, and I'll probably talk about it too, because I was very, very excited for it. So if I can see it, I will, but I am very, very excited to see it because it looks like a nice, homey little horror film that's different from
and it's
big
only
studio
90
stuff.
minutes.
And
It's 90 minutes. It's so
that's 4 stars automatic.
Yeah, and
that's automatic
really,
4 stars.
If you're someone that doesn't like A24 type movie, art house, indie type horror movies, you're not going to like this. This movie is very much like that. And but I think it plays into this movie's it's into its favor. I just think that the movie, it's really, really good. And the third act, I was sitting there in the theater as the third act is unfolding, and it's like kind of like Lords of Salem in the sense where I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This makes no sense. And then, unlike Lords of Salem, you actually get the answer. So you're like, oh, okay. I remember I was sitting in that theater going, if they leave me like this, I'm going to be so upset because I need to connect the dots here. And I thought I was connecting them, but I was like, just at least, and they don't expressly tell it to you, but they show you enough.
I'm picking up what you're putting now.
Okay. Yeah. So it's really good, guys. If you're able to see Late Night with the Devil, please go see it. But like I said, if it's not playing near you, it's going to be on Shudder momentarily. I mean, I remember It's a Wonderful Knife that was on Shudder within a month of it coming out in theaters.
Right.
So it'll probably be the same thing.
Kudos to Shudder. I mean, whether I am a big fan, I liked Suitable Flesh a lot. That was the last Shudder movie I saw that I really enjoyed. That was directed by I forget the guy's name. He's done some great stuff. He was in Holliston with Adam Green, but they make some cool movies, or they acquire cool movies. I shouldn't say Shudder makes cool movies. I think they acquire a lot of stuff. But I applaud Shudder because they're really a name for themselves. They're very dedicated to their physical media fans. So even though they're a streaming service, at the end of the day, they still put out a lot of their stuff Blu-ray, which is great. And I love the fact that they're creeping in. I want them to stay at this level, though. I know this kind of sounds like I'm being, Mr. Hippie. Like, I kind of like the level that they're at. They're cult. They're creeping in there, getting their movies, these limited things. But I don't want them to get too big for their britches, because then they're not the cool kids at school anymore. And then I don't want them to become the next Blumhouse or something like that. Stay a little bit indie like this, because this is where you have freedom. You can put out movies that are just, quite frankly, different. One of the best movies I saw is When Evil Lurks, which was something Shudder acquired last year. I didn't see it in theater, but I mean, that was a goddamn great horror film. Foreign, but insatiable. I loved it so much. So I love Shudder. I'm the biggest advocate for them, and I love their business model as a whole. So I hope the movie does well financially in the theater, even if I can't see it. Of course, I still want to do good, but I'm gladly pick it up on Blu-ray and watch it on the streaming service. So that's awesome. I'm glad
Well,
you liked it. I'm excited to see it.
Jaden says it comes out April 19th on Shudder. So there you guys go, 4 weeks. So
Cool.
if you can't make it to a theater in 4 weeks, you'll be able to check it out. I also, for the first time today, while sitting in the theater, saw the trailer for Longlegs. I had not seen the trailer yet. I don't know if it was online or not. I just hadn't seen it yet. And I'm sitting here watching this trailer, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And then it showed that it was Longlegs at the end, and I was like, oh, that looks gnarly. So definitely looking forward to Longlegs, Nicolas Cage, and Mika Monroe. It looks good.
Nice. I haven't seen the trailer for that, but if you say Nick Cage, it's like flies on garbage. I'm there.
No, they
You know where
showed
to
another
find me.
trailer, a trailer for another Nick Cage movie coming out. Looks like a creature feature, Arcadian, something like
Yeah,
that.
I read about that. Nick's my boy. I mean, both Nicks. Of course, Nick here, and Nick Cage is my boy too. So I just love his career choices right now. I don't know if he's still paying off his taxes, but one thing you can't say about Nicolas Cage, guy, I think this is fair, is even though he's obviously doing a lot of indie stuff and doing other projects, he never phones it in. Never phones it in. I think Pig is actually one of the best performances I've ever seen him do. And that was a couple years ago, just a small indie film. I don't know if that was A24 or not, but Pig was literally one of the best performances I've ever seen him do. And it's a small movie, but he's a great actor. Nick Cage is a great actor, and I love this era of his career. And I hope he does. I'm very sad that Renfield didn't click with people or didn't make a lot of money. It is what it is. But I hope he does something on that big of a scale again too, in some other sort of capacity. So, Mandy is a classic. I agree. I like Mandy.
Dude, Mandy was an acid trip. I dug it, but I'm watching that movie. I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? But yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah, no, Nick Cage looks like he's going to have a pretty decent year ahead of him, and I'm excited. Both of those trailers they showed, they looked good. This seems like this is going to be a year, guys, and I don't know how you feel about this, but it seems like it's going to be a year where some of the better horror movies are going to be more under the radar, like Shudder type movies, like that not a lot of people are talking about or going to see in the theater. But a lot of these trailers, it's just a trailer, but they look really good, and they actually look like horror movies instead of, because I feel like horror movies nowadays, I don't know if you agree, but I feel like a lot of them sometimes are too actiony for my taste. They're less horror.
Yeah, and they're starting to kind of look the same. I would argue, I shouldn't say that. I think I should say you could argue, you could have said that about the last couple years. For instance, my favorite horror movie of last year was Hell House Origins. Hands down, was my favorite horror movie last year. Found footage. I thought it was just so good, and those clowns in that movie were great. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that streaming, the straight to video or straight to streaming is not guilty. Of course, I think everybody had very, very high expectations with Pet Sematary Bloodlines, and that didn't meet anybody's expectations.
Unless your expectations were dog shit, then yeah, that your expectations.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just unfortunate. I mean, is it unwatchable? I wouldn't say that, but the issue is when you slap a quality brand name on a movie like that, people rightfully so have certain levels of expectations. You can't fault people for that. So I think you could argue that there again, like When Evil Lurks, even though I feel let's take a movie and then turning it into a horror film premise is already played out. Myself personally, I'm kind of already over that. People loved It's a Wonderful Knife, and I get it. Like I said, I didn't think the movie was. The whole premise to me, I'm done with. Let's take another kind of classic movie and put a horror twist on it. I don't like that anymore. I thought it was cute for a little while, but that's just me. But clearly, people loved It's a Wonderful Knife, and again, I mean, I think it made some people's top 10s last year. So, yeah, I mean, and then you look at some of the other stuff that comes up. My favorite movie of all last year was Godzilla -1. So, I mean, that's not even an American film. But I don't know, man. The Nun 2, I think it's a bad rap because it's like the trail ends of all this Conjuring stuff, but it really wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't.
I thought it was an okay movie. But I do think people are it's going to become the next Marvel. It's people gonna be like, okay, we're done with this. We're sick of this. We're
Well,
burnt
that's
out on
why
this. Give us something different.
I think they're getting ahead of that by letting everybody know that this next Conjuring movie is the last one. Now, will it be the last one
Yeah.
in the universe? Probably not, but I think they're going to take a break because it was getting very diluted, very watered down. I think a lot of people were just kind of like, you're kind of giving us the same thing. We started coming here for Ed and Lorraine. It's gotten to this point where you saw we'd go see these types of movies, so you're kind of milking it for all that it's worth. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of got to weed through to find the good stuff. You know, I again, I hate to sound like the old man. I don't like when people say no good comes out anymore. That's you got to look for it. It's just like anything else, man. There's good stuff out there. You just have to look for it. Not everything can be promoted and shit in your face because advertising is very, very expensive, and that's just reality. So the stuff that gets advertised to you is probably the crap.
And because they came out with cups and popcorn buckets, Christian has decided he's going to see Godzilla and Kong. So, and that comes out next week.
Yeah, it's funny. When me and Sydney both agree, we when we got the bucket, I was like, you know, Sydney, like the Scar Kong looks kind of cool, but it looks like a 3-year-old drew that Godzilla villain, and he had blue lips. I was like, oh
Shimu.
God.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw they released a clip yesterday that I think should quell your fears a little bit about the buddy cop thing. The clip, I actually liked the clip, and I normally don't watch clips from movies, but it's Godzilla, so I kind of was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. And it's basically Kong. It's a clip of Kong. He has to find Godzilla because he realizes he needs help. So he comes up from Hollow Earth to basically call Godzilla to help him, and Godzilla shows up not to help him, but to fucking kick his ass. So it's like, and I like that. It was kind of like, oh, okay, so they're not like BFFs after the last movie. Like, no, they had a mutual understanding that you are the god and I'm just a king of Hollow Earth. But when he's coming to be like, hey, man, I need your help down here on Hollow Earth, Godzilla's like, hey, man, I don't really give a shit. So I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, okay, this isn't going to be as buddy cop as some people were worried about. And me too. I don't need that, but there was also that screen grab that I sent you of Godzilla, Kong riding on Godzilla's back. So
I know what I like from Godzilla movies. Again, I don't want to sound like that guy. It's just, man, I grew up a Toho guy and I know what I like, you know, and I understand. I feel like they are making, like you said, they're making the stuff look too much like action films. I kind of consider monster movies like this horror adjacent, and they look a lot like action films. And the last one, Godzilla versus King Kong, looked like a video game with the neon sea. Kind of cool to look at, but it's really hard for me to be excited when I personally saw what I consider to be probably in the top 2 or 3 Godzilla films of all time, with Godzilla -1, which just swept my emotions, and just truly a great experience. One of the best theater experiences I ever had was seeing that movie. So it's just really hard for me to be like, okay, yeah, this is great. I get it though. This is what they think the American audience wants. So, you know, it's just what it is. It is what it is.
I think box office here in America proves that, you know, for right or wrong, it is what the American audience wants. So, I mean, let's, you know,
Clearly.
I agree with you. I agree with you about -1. My brother and I were actually just talking about this like an hour ago. -1, he was like, he's not even a huge fan. And he was like, that was like the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, because that movie focused more on like themes, metaphor, story, character arc. Like there was a lot about that movie that despair, loss, destruction. Like there's so much about that movie that is really powerful human shit. Whereas the American Monsterverse, even some of the people's favorites, you know, Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island, there's not a lot of that. There's not a lot of these like deep fleshed out characters and these serious arcs and these real themes they're playing on. It is more of like blow shit up and fight big monsters. And that plays to, you know, the audiences here. And obviously me, I dig that too. But on no planet will I ever say that those films are to the level of film that -1 is, nor would I'm not going to go into this. I know you're not. And I hope nobody watching is going to go into this going, all right, -1 was great. Hopefully, Godzilla and Kong, the new empire, can come close to that. Not by a long shot.
You know what I miss too? Like, I really wish America would get over the, like, when we were kids, there was so much partnerships, and it really made every movie such this incredible experience. Like, I wish like Taco Bell or Burger King or like a restaurant would have done like team up to make promotional stuff with these movies. And I go back to Godzilla 98. It's impossible for me to hate that movie. It really is, because I had the Taco Bell toys, and I had the cups, and I had the cup where Godzilla's got it's a Godzilla that wraps around the cup. Like, I lived all that, and it made the buildup of the movie so incredible. But by the time the movie comes, you don't even care if it's good or not, because I wish we could bring that back. Now I get it, like everybody wants to be healthy, so like these companies and these movie studios, they don't do these partnerships with Taco Bell or McDonald's or this, that, or the third. I do miss that, man, because it really did kind of curb your not curb, but it really it made because I'm always the kind of guy that, we talked about this with all the Halloweens, you know, especially ends. I was like, look, the journey is what's so fun, not so much the destination, like getting to the movie, but the build up to the movie is so fun because we're excited. We're thinking about what the movie is going to be like. We're anticipating this. We're talking about. I love that a lot of times more than the actual movies with these big series. So I miss that era. I really do. And I think that would make me more excited if they did stuff like that, because I am a fat ass. Somebody's like, Christian, this isn't the 90s anymore. I wish it was the 90s. I really do. In terms of marketing, I need my technology, don't get me wrong, but in terms of the way things were marketed back then, it was undeniably fun. Undeniably fun.
Yeah, and it also, it's funny you mentioned that, because I remember when, and I know a lot of people hate this movie. I don't hate this movie, but I don't love this movie. But I remember when Jurassic World Dominion was coming out. It was Hardee's, I believe, that did it. Yeah, that did like
Of course,
a
I don't have
tie-in.
Hardee's. I mean,
Yeah, it was. They did the the Dino Burger or some shit like that. I can't remember what it was, the Amber Burger or something like that, with this like gold amber sauce, which was actually pretty good. And Dr. Pepper did the Dark Berry Dr. Pepper, which was for Jurassic World Dominion, and I thought that was cool, because I was like, we don't see this anymore. Like, you don't
right.
see these companies do that. So I thought that was really, really cool. I did see I did see a comment that was about the Showa era. And I do kind of agree with that. And Adam Wingard was actually talking about that in an interview earlier this week. And he was like, he has an affinity for the Showa era of Godzilla films. I think it's his favorite era. And I would say if the American Monsterverse is close to any kind of era of Toho and you know, the Japanese iterations of Godzilla, I'd say it's closest to Showa. I mean, would you agree with that?
Not really, because if he really loved the Showa
Closest
era,
to.
he'd be.
Closest to. I'm not saying it's apples to apples.
I still would say not really, because if he loved the Showa era, he'd have guys in suits, and not great looking
Okay.
suits.
Okay.
And not
Well,
great. I'm serious. And not great looking suits. That was the charm. It was literally Godzilla moved. Like the Godzilla and King Kong from the 60s is hysterical, because Godzilla suddenly has, you know, he can bend his knees easy. He's got elbows. He can punch like that. Godzilla moves like this. Like, they didn't try to perform as monsters. They literally fought like guys. That's the Showa era. Now, in terms of storytelling, maybe, but then again, I wasn't watching Showa era stuff for stories. I was watching it for guys in suits. So if that's where he's coming from, fair enough. But if he really loved the Showa era, he'd be putting motherfuckers in rubber suits all
okay,
day
well,
long.
I will stand up for one thing about the American Monsterverse, Godzilla King of the Monsters. They actually did mocap with humans, like, to add body language and emotion to like Godzilla and some of the other monsters. They actually did mocap, which I thought
That's
was
good.
really
That's
cool.
good.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna see the movie, Nick. I swear, I'm gonna see the movie. I know I was like, I was such a motherfucker about this the other night, but I'm gonna see the movie. If I like it, I will literally have zero. I have no reason to because I don't mind showing my ass, not literally, but metaphorically. I don't mind showing my ass. So if I actually like it, I'll be like, you know what? It was like the Expendables. It was whatever. It was fun. I have no problem with that. It's just it's really hard to see the Casablanca of Godzilla films, right? And now we're gonna go down to the equivalent of, no disrespect, but like almost like the Power Rangers or the Ninja Turtles of like this group fighting thing. It's
Don't
hard
talk
to come
shit
down.
about
I know,
Power
I know.
Rangers.
It's I love Power. I hear you. I know you're a big fan. That's why I'm saying I'm not using it as a
Yeah.
slight. Why I added Ninja Turtles, but it's hard to. It's really hard to emotionally come down to something like that.
I
But
get
you know
it.
what? You know. Anyway,
I know, I hear you, but hey, if this helps you sleep at night, Christian, Adam Wingard says they have plans.
I
to do
like
a third.
Adam too. By the way,
They're doing another one.
I like Adam.
So
Good, good.
yeah,
It's
so
because they're
all
gonna
right,
make
cool.
money. They're gonna make money. Make good money.
Yeah, and I hope so. I don't think I like to see Godzilla and King Kong getting American films. I think that it's cool to see that because I remember, I mean, I know you remember well that almost 20-year gap from 98 to Godzilla, where it just, it seemed like American audiences didn't give a shit about Godzilla anymore, which sucked because that character rules, man. Like that character should always be a part of cinema. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's cool.
it was. Yeah.
All right. Well, and then what's the deal with this? Somebody tell me if y'all have seen this or if you have any thoughts on this. This Sydney Sweeney movie, Immaculate. Everybody's talking
I
about it.
couldn't tell you
seeing
much
good
about it.
reviews. I thought for a second like maybe I'll check it out this weekend, and then I was like, I don't know. If anybody in the comments has seen it, let us know, because it's getting really good reviews. I don't really care either way for Sydney Sweeney. I don't really know much about her. I know two things about her,
Let me
but
Google it.
but yeah. So if anybody's seen it, I've it's getting good reviews, and I've heard good
You
things.
said it's called Immaculate.
Yeah. Like nun-esque type horror movie. I don't know.
Not interested. I saw Saint Maud a couple years ago when that came out. With that, the premise looked vaguely similar, and I'm good. I'm not that interested in nun movies. But
Jaden says he's
awesome.
seeing it tomorrow, and he's bringing his Dune 2 popcorn bucket. There you go.
Dude, those things are so cool. But like everybody that asks me about it, like, have you used it yet? Like, y'all are some nasty motherfuckers, dude.
Like, wouldn't you, dude? I was talking about this with somebody at work the other day, though. People have done that. Like
of course,
they have. And
of course,
y'all need Jesus or Satan or whatever, but y'all need something.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to do it. But the interesting thing is, so when I got mine, I was like, well, I at least got to put my hand through it to see what it feels like, dude. Those things actually, like, they actually kind of grip onto your hand, which makes me think as soon as I did that, I was like, oh, you nasty motherfuckers. Because they like, it's not like this thing was made nice, and those things don't like fall. They're rubber, but they got like the stiffness to it. So like when you put your hand through it, they kind of bite back onto you. So as soon as I said that, I said, these motherfuckers that got this thing that are nasty, that is gross. Y'all are sick. The Dunacy, I think, is what they call it.
Yeah, well, I guarantee you someone in this comment section right now has at least thought about it, if not tried it. So you know who you are, Jaden.
The sales of lube has doubled since the release of Dune 2.
Yes.
Oh,
all right.
man.
So we did talk about guys. I saw you guys asking. We did talk about Ghostbusters. Christian's gonna see it this weekend. I'll check it out. I need to watch Afterlife first, and then I'll check it out when it comes out on streaming or whatever. But Christian, did you see Dune Part 2?
No. I just really haven't had the time to go to the theater. I need to see that too. But I kind of just figure at this, I'm not gonna review it. But I kind of feel at this point, okay, you know what? Let me just wait to get the 4K experience at the house with Dune 2. I actually think the 4K is not coming out too terribly long from now. I had to break mine apart to get my pecker out. Jesus Christ. That is
This is
nasty.
This is getting to like Uneeda After Dark territory with this fucking
I
Denussy.
know.
We need we need to
Y'all are
we need to steer the
sick.
ship. Steer the ship here. So I wanted to let you guys know. Christian and I talked about it, and based off of reactions of the last episode, we decided that for the April episode, we are going to be doing anything but horror. And some of you guys watching right now might be like, "Oh, dude, I have no interest," but a lot of you guys did have interest in that, and
It's gonna be fun.
yeah, and you've heard Christian and I talk at lengths, either on our own channels or collectively together, about how we're both marks for a lot of action movies, comedies. Like, there's a lot in that we like. It's not just limited to horror, and I know a lot of you guys like that too. So, like, why not talk about that stuff? And I feel like that'd be a little bit of a reprieve too, to kind of like charge the old batteries. You know, like, hey, let's talk about some other shit. Like, let's focus on some
Yeah.
other shit. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
The issue is a lot of times, especially if we record at night, it turns to Nick, you realize like how big the world is and we're gonna die. And like that's what happens. I get into those kinds of talks, and then the whole thing is just like, oh my God. People listening to this are just like, dude, I'm so depressed.
Dude, and we get comments like
dude,
that, and I'm like,
I
get
laugh
worried.
my
I'm
ass
like,
off at it.
and I get worried. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, you know, we're not trying to be downers. And then people are like, no, I dig it. And I'm like, what? I'm so confused. Like, people call out how weird it is, and then they're like, but I dig it. I'm like, okay, like, good,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, shit.
Yeah,
man.
I'm excited about that. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time. Real good.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do Italian horror, and that was something that Christian and I talked about, because he brought up some good points and was basically like, you know, I don't want you to have to feel like you're rushing through any of these, because some of these are really enjoyable watches, and there's a lot of like really important shit in them, and you need to pay attention. And I really want you to be giving what these kind of movies require of you to give.
Yeah.
And I agreed. I was
You
like,
can't
yeah,
watch-
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't watch 5 or 6 in a row like during a week. You'll hate all of it. You know, you have to little gap, you know, lights off, crank it up, because it's what you're gonna fall in love with more than anything is Goblin, the band. Hearing all the soundtracks they do with these movies are just sensational. So you space it out, take your time, enjoy it, give everything its due. You know,
Hey, I got Mark here in the comment section acting like I'm a total pleb. I have seen and own the New York Ripper. Thank you very much. I
bugged him about that movie for a while.
Yeah,
He didn't like
okay.
it, but
That is not true. That is not true. I didn't like it like I like Zombie. Zombie, I walked away from, and I was like, that movie fucking ruled. New York Ripper, I was like, I specifically, and I was told about this before I got into any of these movies, the gore is like next level. Like that, and New York Ripper was no exception to that. My issue I had with the movie, and Christian was like, well, if you have this issue, you're going to have an issue with a lot of these movies, was the fucking
you didn't like the dub.
dub.
Yeah.
I was like, it's so noticeable. I'm like, fuck.
I understand. Well, if you, the thing about it is a lot of times, I think Dario specifically, they wouldn't even record audio with these. So sometimes it happens. I think Lucio would sometimes, and maybe even Dario on occasion. But if that was the case, I'd be like, well, you could watch the Italian version with the English dub. But I think sometimes they didn't even record audio to save money, and so then they ADR the whole thing afterwards. But you kind of just get used to it. That's the only thing I can tell you. And everybody told me that, and believe me, I went into this saying to myself, "That's so stupid. What do you mean, just get used to it?" But eventually, like when the one that you're gonna love the most, I think, is The Beyond with Lucio. Lucio literally doesn't
watch it the most, I think.
Yeah, I'm a Lucio guy more than a Dario guy. But I think with Lucio, he literally doesn't care about reality. In the middle of a scene, something can happen so nightmarish that just comes out of left field, and it's like your worst nightmare happening right in front of you. And The Beyond is probably the best example of that. That is, if you catch me on the right day and you say, Christian, what's the best Lucio film? I could say The Beyond. It's that good. But 9 times out of 10, I'll tell you it's Zombie, which I think is the best Italian horror film ever. But the Beyond is so good. And every time I go back to The Beyond, I'm just like, God damn. And a lot of it was filmed in New Orleans. There's this famous shot of Lucio sitting on a chair in the middle of the Causeway Bridge, which I used to go to every day. I used to shut my eye on this bridge, Nick. It's one of the longest bridges ever. The Causeway is so long. It goes over Lake Pontchartrain. It literally is like, I don't know how many miles. It's never ending. And I would be paranoid every time as a kid. I'd just shut my eyes like this on the bridge till we got to say, Mom, are we done yet? And she's like, oh no, we got a ways to go. But there's this famous shot of Lucio sitting in the middle of a chair on the Causeway. It's just an iconic shot of him. So you're gonna love that one. I think it's one of the best. So that I'm excited for you to check out.
If I'm not mistaken, a lot of these are on Tubi, aren't they?
Tubi Shutter usually has a lot of Lucio and Dario stuff. The Church is a great one too.
I might watch The Beyond tonight. I was actually thinking of something to watch for tonight, so I might watch The Beyond tonight. Honestly,
yeah.
But yeah, no, and I know you guys are really excited for that episode. I as soon as we started talking about Italian horror, I saw these.
Here they come.
Comments.
Yeah,
it was just people are like, man, I can't. I think that episode is going to be really fun to do too. I think the next 2 episodes we have planned are going to be really fun to do.
I agree. I agree. I totally agree.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it, man. But there's.
I have a topic that I know the chat would be interested in, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want to talk about it. The announcement of Nev Campbell coming back to Scream and Kevin Williamson directing. And I don't know how everybody else feels. I, for one, I'm like, as much as I joke about Nev, she's not my favorite actress in the world. I know this is my comment on the situation. Somebody
don't mean to interrupt you, Christian, but we have a viewer that just found us live, and they want to know if there's any psycho-political angles inserted into our no, Christian and I don't bring up politics whatsoever. So just found us.
What about me looks political? I have coveralls on, a acid wash sweatshirt, a silver beanie, and yeah.
Just gonna let you guys know, since you said you're a new viewer that just found us, no, not at all. We don't touch on that shit ever. So you are welcome to watch us and join us. We appreciate it. But continue, Christian.
Yeah, welcome, Queen. My comment on the situation is, for the people that are excited about it, hell yeah. For the people that aren't, I get it too. Obviously, it's weird when you're watching a series and literally stuff happens that, not to get on the topic, is somewhat political, and then it causes an entire reset of a franchise that you might have been into. But I know for a fact, I don't know if it's Paramount or Spyglass, somebody just forked up a shit ton of money to make this all happen. A shit ton of money. So
all that money
if
that
Nev
they were
is
gonna
a
use
huge payday.
And Jenna Ortega, they put all that money together and they said, "Hey, Nev, it's all yours."
Yeah, and I almost wonder if people upset Nev is doing the film too, because it's like, why are you doing it if they screws you over to begin with? Look, guys, Nev doesn't give 2 shits about Scream, whether she says so or not. I mean, this is a job for her. This is how she makes her money. If Jamie Lee Curtis got offered $25 million, $30 million to do another Halloween, she'd come back and tell you why this is going to be the best Halloween. This is going to be the most important. You know what I'm saying? So I say, Nev, if you're getting paid, get that money. Get it from them by any means necessary. But this is going to go down. There's going to be a documentary about this whole thing, in my opinion. There's going to be a documentary about this, going over how this all went down. Because I think this is a monumental moment in movies where, again, I'm not going to get political about it. I feel so silly saying this because somebody was asking if we're political, but because of the circumstances of this whole thing, and everybody's got their opinion on it, but this is a pretty substantial situation to happen. And it's going to go down in history. I can't remember something like this happening with movies, specifically horror, in a long time. So we're seeing history, good or bad, right now with everything going on with this. And it's going to be interesting to see it not somehow affect the movies. But I got to say, I'm interested to see what they do. I'm very interested to see what they do. I've been very vocal that people need to give Kevin Williamson way more credit about Scream than Wes, as much as I
Yeah,
love Wes Craven. He
it's
directed the movie. He did an incredible job, but he did not write the movie. Kevin Williamson wrote the movie. So I hope with all of this, he's going to get some really great credit for all that. So that's my 2 cents on this whole thing.
Yeah, I made a video on this, and it was inevitable. I mean, a lot of people are asking about it when the news breaks, so it's like, all right, I'll make a video on it. Same thing as you. You're like personal beliefs and all that. I'm not going to get into that when it comes to just my thoughts on the situation and what I'm expecting. Personally, I said the same thing on Twitter. I said, above all else, regardless of all the negativity surrounding this movie, this is incredibly cool for Kevin Williamson because this is his baby. No, I mean, no matter what anybody wants to say or how they feel, this is Kevin Williamson's baby. It was from the beginning. He wrote it. It's his idea. To be able to see him get the chance to direct this movie, I think is super, super cool. And good for him. I mean, God, not shoveling shit literally, but like, just being the guy that gets credited on all these movies. But Wes got all the credit and Nev gets the credit, and to finally have him be the guy behind the camera that's like, yeah, this is my movie. I'm really happy for him. And then as far as the situation with Nev, I agree, man. They had to back up the Brinks truck. We both said this months ago when everything went down with Melissa. I was like, well, now you got to pay out the ass for Nev because you don't have a movie if you don't. And they did.
What option do they have? You know what I'm saying? Like this all makes sense because after it all went down, I was like, what option did they have? If they pay, I don't know if Paramount pays for the rights to do 3 movies and then they get the option to do. I don't know the business. I see Hakeem in here. He may know that sort of thing. I'm ignorant to that, but let's just assume they had to make a 3rd movie, right? Let's assume they had to. They legally and financially had to, right? What option did they have? You can't do another movie with new people that nobody's seen before, right? I really think that they probably went to Williamson and basically said, what's it going to take? And with Nev, like, what's it going to take? And her manager had every bit of leverage in the world. Yep. So I guarantee you, Nev is eating good right now.
Oh yeah,
and good for her. Good for her.
Rightfully so, man. Rightfully so. She's absolutely earned every bit of that. It is unfortunate when it comes to Kevin and Nev that this is all going to be under the cloud of everything that took place with the Melissa Barrera situation and everything like that. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for them because obviously they had nothing to do with that. And Nev and Kevin just want to make a good movie, especially Kevin. Like, Kevin's like, this is my chance to make my Scream movie. And just sucks that all that's going to be hanging over it. But at the end of the day, I hope it's good.
You know what, though? You know what would have been, I'm sorry to cut you off, but what would have been nice is if they would have said, let's call in Todd Farmer and Kevin Lucier and let's make a sleazy ass Scream movie.
3D.
And let's just get random people in it. I would, dude, you want to see excited. I would have been over the moon about it.
Oh yeah, dude.
that would have made me a huge fan.
Okay, but you had to put it in 3D and you had to give Todd Farmer a role. And then all right.
And he had to be butt naked in it.
Yeah, you had to be butt naked.
That's so excited.
I don't know about you. I do feel, I just get this vibe that this is probably it for Nev. Like, do you feel the same way? Like going in, I feel like this is it. Like it really, with all the shit that it took to get here and all of the storylines throughout all of this with, the behind the scenes shit, the negotiating shit, I feel like this is it for her. I really do.
I look at a similar type of situation and I see what the limit was. The reason I say no is not because I disagree with you, but if Jamie Lee will play the same role 3 times, Nev can come back a 3rd time as well down the road when they inevitably make a sequel to the first Scream in 2036,
Yeah.
So I'm inclined to agree with you, but Money talks, bullshit walks. So I look at the barometer, which is what Jamie Lee's done, played the same character three different times. She can come back a third. I guess you consider this still her second run in a sense. She did 1, 2, 3. No, this is kind of her third one since 4 was like this random thing. So no, this probably is it. By my numbers, this is it.
This is her. Yeah,
I guess I try to. I guess I try to forget that Scream 4 existed, which is silly. I'm just not I'm not a huge fan of it, but people like it. It's fine. But
me neither.
This would technically be a third one.
Yeah, and bring Stu back. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of this back and forth. These games, just bring Stu back. It's what the people want. I don't care how implausible it is. Just bring Stu back. All right, just do it.
Well, you're gonna have to satisfy all the upset fans, if that matters to Paramount or Spyglass. You at this point, you really don't have a choice. I mean, you may as well reach out to him and say, "We're gonna take." I mean, and Lillard stays hot. He stays popular. He stays like so in the pop culture. He's got a fan base that is ever growing because of the cult films he's done, like Scooby-Doo and being in Scream. So he's got the kids. He's got the kids who are now adults that grew up with the Scream films and Scooby-Doo, and he's also got like when you do something with David Lynch too, you get yourself another fan base. And he was in season 3 of Twin Peaks. He was sensational in Twin Peaks in 3. Like he's got all the bases covered as far as fan bases go. So he's hot. Lillard's he and that's another thing. You have to little. He's not no scale guy. I mean, he's a star. Arguably, he's still a respectable star. So they're gonna have to pay. This could be the most expensive. This could be the most expensive Scream movie yet, and it's all going to the actors.
Good,
Good.
I'll
tell you what I was upset about, Nick. Really quick. I'm sorry. I just want to get this out before I forget. I'm kind of upset looking back that we didn't see not Stu. We didn't see Billy. Like, why was she not having those premonitions of her dad in 6? Like, I feel like that should have been in 6.
He did twice.
Do we? Okay, I need to see it again. Sorry, never mind, guys. Strike that from the record. That erased from the record.
It's one, or I know it's at least one time in the climax of the movie. I think it's twice. But they actually made a concerted effort to pull back on that. That was something they talked about to kind of pull back.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that take. I thought it was a great. I disagree with that stance that they had. I thought that was a highlight in 5, in my opinion. Those scenes.
Yeah, I liked it too, and I'm also all for all of that. At this point, you're the 7th movie in a slasher series, dude. Give me everything. I mean, just throw everything at the wall. Like, let's do it, man. I don't care. Bring back Stu. Bring back Billy. Billy never died. Billy's a zombie. Put it in 3D. I don't give a shit. Let's do it. So yeah, no,
they're gonna get Kennedy in here too. They're gonna figure out a way to do Kennedy in here. Probably something like a videotape. Like, if you're still dealing with this, Sydney, I have a way out. Like, they're gonna figure something out for Jamie Kennedy. They're just gonna throw everybody in this. If they get Laurie Metcalf, 5 stars. I'll break my own rule. If they get Laurie Metcalf, 5 stars.
Yes. Yeah. So. No, hey, look, I think we're both on the same wavelength here. And honestly, the last thing I wanted to touch on was, look, man, I texted you about it, and I think you and I are in agreement, but you haven't really talked about it publicly. And I think this might shock some people because you're a big fan of the original movie. Christian, why don't you tell? You do or you don't?
I don't know. I don't know where you're going with this. It's not ringing a bell.
Why don't you tell people that shows you how important our text conversations are, guys? Christian never remembers them. Why don't you tell people why it's that this remake of The Crow in its own light might actually not be that bad for what it's going for? Like, because you and I agreed that the tone of the trailer looks like it's going for this emo John Wick action movie, and by the trailer it looks like it's selling that well. So I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, I'm gonna give credit to my wife, Sydney. She said this to me, and I got honest after we watched. She said, watch the trailer again. I totally agree with her. Now this could shock some people when I say this, but I think that this Crow could be the next Twilight. And what I mean by that is the girl. I think this is going to be the most. This is going to be the most clip thing on TikTok after it comes out. I think it's going to be a phenomenon with the ladies and guys that are into guys, of course. But I think this is going to be like the next big, like heartthrob phenomenon thing. And I think it's going to be like whatever those guys' names are from Twilight. I forget them, Jacob and Edward. This is going to be like that. And I agree with my wife. I think she's pretty spot on about it because you've got the crowd that look. I'm not a huge fan of The Crow. I like The Crow a lot. The movie, the original Crow. I kind of get in trouble for saying this, but I don't think it should be controversial. I'm the biggest Brandon Lee fan as well. Showdown and Little Tokyo's favorites with him and Dolph Lundgren. I think The Crow has a little bit of a Nirvana effect. If I'm being honest, I think it's a good movie. The same way I think Nirvana's a good band, but guess what? They eventually would start making some bad records. That's just fact. No band stays that relevant or that good. Everybody has their time and their window. So now I understand, but because Brandon passed and that's his last movie, and the type of movie of what The Crow is eerily symbolic, of course. Like, what a movie to accidentally die on, The Crow. I mean, there's something so eerie about that. But I'm not the biggest fan. I actually like City of Angels a lot because I'm a huge Iggy Pop fan, which is, for everybody that was wondering, that's the name of my third dog, is Iggy Pop. That we changed it from Huey Lewis to Iggy Pop. He just didn't look like a Huey, so he's now Iggy Pop. If I didn't make that clear, I think I talked about that. But I tell you what, though, Nick, I did a little bit of digging. A lot of people that are familiar with the literature on The Crow seem to really be happy with the trailer, for whatever that's worth. I can't comment on that myself, but I'm gonna check it out. I like Skarsgård. He's won me over big time. So it's no harm, no foul to me. If I like The Crow, awesome. If I don't, I'm just gonna move on. But I think The Crow is a very important movie to people. So people are going to have very strong opinions about it one way or the other. But I think it's going to be a cultural touchstone the way Twilight was, if I had to guess. And again, my wife came up with that idea, not me, but I just highly agree with it. So that's my 2 cents on the whole thing.
And you told me that the other day when we were talking about this, and I could totally see where you're coming from. And I just have to say too, I'm much like you. I like The Crow. I'm not in love with The Crow. I don't have this emotional attachment to it. It's just not something that I feel very protective over. I know a lot of people do feel very protective over it, and for good reason, especially with the Brandon Lee situation. Having said that, I think about something that I am very protective over, and that's Halloween. And I guess I'm only bringing this up to be like, when Rob Zombie's movie came out, it's like, oh, it's a new Michael Myers, it's a new Dr. Loomis, it's a new Laurie Strode. Like, these characters, those actors' performances, that's really important to me. Like, but I went in open-minded, and for what it was, I was able to separate it from that. And I got some interesting comments on the video I did about The Crow last night, and some people said, no, this is basically like pissing in the face of Brandon Lee's legacy. I cannot get behind that argument. I just can't. I don't think an actor ever owns a character that they didn't create. I mean, I just don't feel that way. And again, I absolutely respect the love that people have for that movie and in that portrayal in particular. But I think that this character was created by James O'Barr in a comic years before that film. And I think that the character of Eric Draven belongs to that writer. And I think the character of Eric Draven can live on in different iterations for generations to come. That doesn't mean they're ever going to touch the original film. But I don't think in any way, shape, or form is it something, in my opinion, that is so, I don't think there's any character ever that is so sacred that you can't do a new iteration of it. I don't agree with that. And I know, and I said this when I was talking to somebody last night, I was like, but again, I'm not right, but you're not right either, because it's just our opinions. Like, none of us are right, because they're going to do it anyway. So you know what I mean?
Saturn Video literally just summed it up perfectly too.
Yep.
I
Why
mean,
did it get sequel
that
without Brandon Lee as well? People just
yeah,
forget to talk about those.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a silly argument. It's when I hear something like that, while I'll respect your opinion because your opinion's no better than mine, my opinion is no better than yours. I can't even entertain that line of thinking. There's no you can't go anywhere with that. You just can't. So when somebody says this is disrespectful to Brandon Lee, no, I don't think so. I think that's their movies. Their movies.
Yep.
That's my response. They're movies.
And I had a good I
Um,
think I had a good counter argument, and I just want to see how you feel about this. Personally,
sure.
I think a good comparative is Heath Ledger's Joker. And while he didn't die filming the movie, he died before the movie came out, and the mental state
Mhm.
that he was in for the role definitely contributed to his eventual death. Like it's well documented that Heath Ledger went off the rails for that role, definitely a part that played a part in it. And he died just not long after filming it. And
Yeah.
everybody was so protective of that performance and the character of the Joker. And then Joaquin Phoenix came around in 2019 and everybody went, "Oh, Joker, this is really good. This is pretty good." And everybody was okay with it. And it's like, I just don't think in any instance that is I agree with you. I can't see that way of thinking. I just don't agree with that. I really
Yeah.
don't, because I was protective of Ledger's Joker as well. And then Joaquin Phoenix came around and showed, hey, other actors can do that too, regardless of the circumstance or the performance that was given before them. So
100%. And there is there. I would be lying if I didn't say there are moments where I have the feelings of people saying like this has to be protected. Like let's be honest. And this is such a cliche thing to say, like nobody could ever do this role, but like, yeah, nobody could probably ever be Rocky than Sylvester Stallone. But eventually, one day they may remake Rocky. Um, and I think the thing to remember is they're not erasing those movies. You know, one thing that's always kind of cool is, and for the big fans of Brandon Lee's Crow, a lot of times when these remakes come out, a lot of the merchandise that hits the stores and they'll do stuff for Walmart, a lot of times, guys, they put out merchandise of the original film. So, you know, when The Exorcist Believer came out, guess what I started seeing at Walmart? 1973 Exorcist shirts and long sleeves and things like that. So, you know, there's the
yep.
bright side to this too. So, it's just the movie business, guys. It's gonna stay this way for a long time. Even me, like when I'm not a fan of the movies, but the performance is so good, like Heath Ledger, undeniably good. Like I get it. I get why people are just like, you're never gonna beat that. Leave it alone. It's just number one, they're superhero movies, so you're damn right they're basically gonna remake it. I mean, they've in my own lifetime, I've seen 3 remakes of Spider-Man. In my own lifetime, I'm only 31. Like, think about that. 3 remakes, 3 different versions, my own in 31 years. So that's wild when you think about it. So yeah, I understand people get attached to movies. Clearly, we get attached to movies. They make up a lot of times our personalities, but when you say stuff like this is disrespectful to men and late, no. You gotta get a grip. You have to. Otherwise, you have to get a grip. I was gonna say something mean. I'm not gonna say anything mean. It's just it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's not disrespectful to Brandon Lee. It's keeping the memory of him alive, whether you like the movie or not. So. I mean, I would welcome a remake of Showdown in Little Tokyo. Quite frankly, if they ever did that.
And
So
we get, we got a comment that Jigsaw Rules, Big Saw fan, nice to see you in here, basically saying like actors can take over a character, like Tobin Bell is Jigsaw and Robert is Freddy. That's absolutely right. But and I agree with that, but I still don't think I don't think that means that those characters can never be revisited again. I personally feel like, and I've gone to bat for, and Christian has too, as the Freddy guy, have gone to bat for Jackie Earle Haley in 2010's Nightmare. He was fine. He was fine. CGI at times was questionable, and some of the material he was given wasn't, but he was fine. And if anything, I think Jackie Earle Haley proved with Nightmare 2010, somebody else can play Freddy. Will they hold a candle to Robert? Probably not, but that's not the point. The character can still live on with somebody else. And like Christian said, I think it only just look at what happened after Nightmare 2010. Christian, you lived it. Like, because you're the Freddy
Yeah.
guy, it made people appreciate Robert so much more all over again. And it's like, if
Yeah,
nothing else, that's a win.
it's those movies aren't going anywhere, guys. Like they're not going. I feel like people think. I think it's like there's this fear that people think, oh, this stuff's going to disappear. My movies are going to disappear, and now all people are going to want to talk about is Jackie Earle Haley, or all they're going to talk about now is Bill Skarsgård. It's just not reality. It's not. I think we get a sense of vindication when someone we love is revered in a sense. Like if you're a big fan of The Crow, it is revered as a classic American, kind of multi-genred film. And I think people get this fear that this is gonna just make it go away. It rarely ever happens. But I mean, if we're talking about this, this person does. I mean, to me as a horror fan, and when Christopher Lee became just as iconic, in my opinion, you could almost argue more than Bela Lugosi as Dracula. I mean, the cat's been out of the bag for this few years. So never say never. And look, I mean, you may watch the film if you're going up with your back against the wall and love it. Never trust these trailers. These trailers are trying to sell it to the audience, and a lot of times they're not exactly what you expect. And in some instances, that could be a really bad thing. Like with horror movies, I'm sure with that movie Night Swim, they pretty much put every good scene in the trailer. The rest of it was probably slow.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I really try to understand where people are coming from with stuff like this, but when you have such a hard stance, you say this is disrespectful to Brandon Lee. It's just hard. Where do you go from there? It's a lost cause, in my opinion. You can't.
That person's already made up their mind. You can't really argue with that, and I totally agree. But I will just say, and then we'll get off this topic and wrap it up. But I will say this, guys: two things. One, how many people forgot about Donald Pleasance after Malcolm McDowell played Dr. Loomis? Nobody. If anything, it made people go back and appreciate him more, even though Malcolm was great. I don't give a shit. And two, Bill Skarsgård is a great
sizzling hot.
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård is a great actor. That's inarguable. And even most people would agree he was really good as Pennywise, but people still revere Tim Curry, even though Skarsgård was really good as Pennywise. So again, no matter if this movie is shit, if it's great, if Skarsgård's good in it or not, doesn't matter. It's not taking away that original film. It's not taking away Brandon Lee's performance. None of that's real.
Look at the bright side. It's Bill Skarsgård playing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's definitely one of those guys that can, play a character. He can become this animated thing. So, we'll see what happens. It's very interesting. I enjoy the discourse because besides stuff like this, I usually I'm a sniper, right? I like to just look at what people are saying, and I don't really argue back and forth. I don't really comment on this stuff much. I'm not a commenter, really. I like it to where I can just say what I want to say and I can walk away from it. I prefer doing that. I enjoy seeing the discourse because I don't know. It just makes it interesting to me. Makes it very interesting.
I agree, man. I do too. I usually don't, especially when there's a lot of controversy about stuff like this. I don't know. I don't know. I try not to, especially if it's not something that I was really excited for, because I wasn't. When they announced this remake, I could have cared less, to be honest with you. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, I actually kind of am looking forward to this, which is weird. And then I was just seeing over the week just the discourse online about it. And I was like, I'm going to make a video on this because I feel like, and I'm sure there's somebody watching right now that disagrees, but I felt like people were just being crybabies. Like, I mean, just call a spade a spade. Like, I felt like people were just like, if you don't want to see it, just wipe it out of existence. It doesn't exist to you. Never watch it. Don't acknowledge it. That's fine. But like, I don't know. I'm always going to be a proponent of bringing great stories back to the big screen in different adaptations for newer generations. I'm always going to be cool with that. They could announce a Frankenstein movie tomorrow, and I'd probably go see it, even though it's not the same Frankenstein from 80 years ago.
After a certain number of time movies been remade, it's just like, what the hell? You know,
Yeah.
with Frank.
Yeah.
No, I'd be so excited. I think the Universal monsters are gonna get their due again in a really big way. It's just got to be done right. It just has to be done right. I think Invisible Man was a step in the right direction. But there's
Yeah,
a
and I
wolf.
gotta
Isn't there a Wolfman being made right now?
Yeah. Lee Wanell's directing it, just started filming last week, and I just want to give a shout out to Mark, Saturn Video. He finally watched Child's Play 2019 as an avid lover of the original continuity of Child's Play. He avoided that movie. He watched it like a week ago. He messaged me. He was like, dude, that movie was actually pretty solid. Like, I can't believe I didn't watch it. Taking it for what it was, that movie was a good
Right.
time. And I'm like, yeah,
Well,
it is.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you saw it. You know, but Saturn, I would recommend to you always see it, because you never want to have that doubt in your head. Always see it. So I'm glad you saw it, but I'm sad you waited so long. It's a fun movie. It's very different. I mean, I have some things I would change about it. Like, it's amazing that they made a practical doll still look CGI. You know, but there are some really great Easter eggs in there, and the fact that they had some Orion horror movies on the screen, like Texas Chainsaw 2 and things like that. It was they clearly did some cool stuff for the horror fans in that movie. So
Yeah, and if anything else, Mark Hamill I thought was great as the voice of Chucky, and the movie's just fun. It's harmless. Like, I don't think in any way it was shitting on the legacy of the original, because it tried to do something totally different. This wasn't a possessed doll of a serial killer. No, it was a new angle on that. Like,
right.
really with what we worry about today, like AI and stuff like that. Like, I thought that was really cool, and it was very relevant. And I'm just gonna say, I'm still pissed at Don Mancini for the TV series, simply because not only does the TV series not do much for me, I thought season 1 was fine, and I didn't like season 2, and I haven't watched any of season 3. That TV series is the reason that Orion didn't do a sequel, because they were like, well, when Don Mancini, I was reading about it the other day, because it made enough money to warrant a sequel. They kept the budget low. It made like 40 million. They were like, well, Don Mancini went forward with that TV series, and all the chips got put into that basket for Child's Play. And for me, I was kind of bummed, because I was like, I would have liked to seen this universe expand, because in my opinion, Don Mancini has played the fucking string out for me. I'm good, dude. I've seen what you got to do with Chucky. I'm good.
I hear you, and nobody's said what you've said meaner than me. I have basically abolished Don Mancini in the past. I have to say, a number of people, including Akeem, I think Akeem reached out to me a while back, and he said, listen, no, Christian, season 3 is wild as fuck. I think you'd actually like it. And people would send me screenshots. There was a shot of Chucky looking like he was 90 years old in like a doctor's office. And I was like, okay, I don't know what the fuck this is. I wish I could just watch season 3. I started watching season 1, and to be honest with you, there were some cool episodes. But then as much as some of the episodes that I enjoyed, other ones I was just like, oh, this is not for me.
Well, and a lot of
like, look,
people
see,
agree.
the people are speaking. People are saying, "Oh, season 3 is wild." So
I'm seeing it in the chat. I'm seeing in the chat that a lot of people were like, "Yeah, season 2 wasn't very good," and that's kind of where I fell off. I didn't like season 2. I thought it was disjointed. I thought they tried to tie way too much together in that season, and tonally, I just thought it was so off. And I will maintain that Don Mancini completely wasted Fiona Dourif. I don't care what you think of season 3. He completely wasted Fiona Dourif. What they did to her to make her this legless, immobile, it pissed me off. She was incredible in Curse of Chucky, and they shit on her character in Cult of Chucky. And then I don't like what they've done with her in the TV series. I just really think that it just pissed me off, man. Pissed me off.
Well, maybe maybe he listened to the criticism. Because, like I said, look at the people. People are saying season 3 is wacky and fun, and I want to see season 3, but I don't want to have to go through everything else to see. I'll figure it out.
You, Christian, as somebody that's not a fan of Seed of Chucky or Cult of Chucky, I don't think you will like season 2. I really don't.
I can't imagine I would.
We have very similar Child's Play tastes, and I think we are pretty much almost in alignment with like all of the Child's Play movies. And I'm gonna say I don't think you'd like 2. I really, really don't.
I'm inclined to believe you. I don't hear a lot of people say they like 2. So I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till they finish the show, and when they put out some kind of fun Blu-ray set, I'll pick that up. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
There you have it, guys. I feel like we covered all of these pressing topics that are forefront of everybody's mind right now. I don't think we left anything out that is kind of percolating in this horror space right now. So, glad that we did that. We're gonna be wrapping up here. It is March. What is it? March 22nd, March 21st, something like
Yes.
that. The first week of April is when the next pre-recorded episode will drop. You guys know how we've been doing that. They're usually about 2-hour long episodes. This one's going to be really fun because you're going to get to see Christian and I go all the way from some of our favorite comedies like Billy Madison and Tommy Boy, all the way to movies like, I don't know, like I said, we're going to talk a lot about Sly and Schwarzenegger and all, like, it's just going to be everything. And it's going to be really, really cool. And I'm excited to kind of let our freak flag fly a little bit with that. But before we go, anything you have to say, anything you want to add, or?
No, I was trying to think if there was anything else we didn't really cover today that was of relevance, but I Scream was the one thing I wanted to mention, and that was the only thing I had in my mind. But I think it's it. So
Okay.
I think that's it. I'm trying to think. I can't
All
think of
about
anything else.
Says the new Roadhouse movie is not terrible. So, hey, not terrible.
Yeah. We did discuss Beetlejuice 2 earlier, Andrew. If you want to catch the replay.
Yeah. Well, shit.
I had a good time tonight.
Yeah. This was fun. I had a lot at the front of my mind that I was like, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. So I feel like we got all of that out in the open, and we talked about literally everything that you guys had been asking about.
Wait up. Stop. Is not excited about it, and I understand why. I am all aboard the Pooniverse right now. I'm excited for all these movies. I can't wait because they're so ludicrous. They're so ridiculously ludicrous. This is your reprieve from this. Literally couldn't. You got to realize something about this. Like, this literally couldn't be happening at a better time. We just talked about all the issues with Scream. We talked about all the issues with The Crow. People are upset about this. People are upset about that. People are upset with this. They don't like this. They don't like the director for this. They don't want this person to be in the movie. This person's so and so. This person. Nobody can have an issue with a legitimate issue with the Pooniverse. And for the people that go and watch these movies and they critique the character development, the joke is on you. I really don't know what else to say. I just don't know what else to say. So I'm all aboard the Pooniverse. I can't wait for the Bambi movie. Hopefully Bambi gets a Tommy gun and just guns down a bunch of hunters. So I think Nick will come around. I think it's a lot to take in because they announced the Pooniverse. So I loved Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey myself. I really did. I thought it was hysterical. I'm actually a little bummed out.
Pooniverse. It just makes me laugh.
Well, I'm a little bummed out that they're actually getting more money because the faces are going to be able to move and be animated. I love the fact in the first one, Winnie the Pooh just looked like this the whole movie when he's killing people. So I'm all aboard right now. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a fun time. I really do. I'm very excited for the Pooniverse.
Hey guys,
hopefully Tigger Wreck Shop.
Jaden gives it a glowing review. The first movie sucks chodes, but I think the others will be better now that they have more than $3.
We talked about that. He's not right on that. I mean, I told him to stop looking for character development in Winnie the Pooh. He said it was boring. He's got to put his phone down when he's watching movies. It's that simple. He's on Discord too much.
Yeah, he's still making that. You need a Discord, aren't you, Jaden? 2 years later. Come on, motherfucker.
But go ahead. I didn't mean to be rude. Go ahead, just Sarah.
Sarah with a $5 super chat. Thank you. She said, "I'll let you know my opinion on Late Night with the Devil sometime tomorrow." Please do message me on Instagram. Let me know what you think. And again, thank you so much for the super chat. If you guys
very nice of you.
If you guys haven't liked this stream yet, please do. If you're watching on the playback, please, give us a like. What the hell?
Drop a like.
Also, I just want to say again, I cannot stress this enough. If you guys like slow burn, darkly comedic, batshit crazy third act, time, movies that are set in a specific time period, specifically the 70s, you're going to like
Gonna
Late
like
Night
it.
with the Devil. And if you can see it, if it's playing near you, like Jaden said earlier, it will be on Shudder April 19th. So if it's not playing next to you, no big deal. You'll get a chance to see it in a month. But if it is playing next to you, go support indie horror. And people are really losing their shit over the fact that there were 3 AI generated photos in the movie that they used as transition photos just like when it was like a break in the broadcast. Look, guys, the writers and the actors and everybody and the directors got their fair deal, and everybody is they all got paid and they got what they were looking for. I don't really care about a couple of AI.
See, I almost wish I didn't know about this, and you're not the one to break it to me. I'm not going to call out the person who broke this news to me of this AI stuff. I almost wish I didn't know about this because I would have liked to have just not even noticed it in the movie.
You can't even
But
tell,
apparently,
Christian. I mean, when you're watching the
apparently
movie,
it gained traction. So somebody
Yeah, it
already
did,
spoiled it to me. Little bastard, you know who you are.
It gained traction, unfortunately. But guys, I think the movie is just great, and I think that if you're a fan of all of those things I just mentioned, there's absolutely, positively no way you're not going to like this movie. I genuinely feel that way in my heart. There is no way you won't like this movie if you like all those things
Oh,
I
yeah.
mentioned. So go see it if you're able to. If you're not able to, check it out on Shudder on April 19th, and we'll be back the first week of April with the Anything But Horror show. And Christian already said he's going to make a fucking banger thumbnail for that one that's really going to grab the audience. So I'm excited to see that one.
I hope so. No, you put that out there.
And Sarah, Maxine comes out July 5th. We still don't have a trailer for that, which kind of pisses me off. I want a trailer. I've heard all the things from the test screenings. People are saying it's the best of the 3. X is going to be hard to beat for me. X was my favorite movie of that year and one of my favorite horror movies, probably the last 10 years. But I have no doubt that Ty West is at least going to deliver a really good movie. So I'm excited for Maxine. Hopefully, by the time we do a live next month, we'll have a trailer for it that we can discuss. So,
Cool.
Christian, unless you got anything else, you ready to sign on out?
No, thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys in April. That's all I got.
All right. We love y'all. Take care. We'll see you next month.